I'm Stephanie.
I'm Samantha.
And this is Fashionably Nerdy
Geek Chic TV.
You guys, this is really exciting for us. This is our first makeup tutorial, something we've really wanted to do for a while. We have Ashley Troub with us, who is an amazing makeup artist. You might remember her from the Gold Bubble behind the scenes video, because Ashley was my makeup artist on that, as well as she was the makeup artist for Lital Platts, winning her Universe fashion show design. Also, you did some work on a really cool film.
I did work on Truth of the Mask. It was a fan film for Batman and it was incredibly well received. It was amazing to do.
A Supergirl inspired look on Samantha. So she's going to teach you how to get the same look. Today we're using Urban Decay products. Awesome. I'll take it away, Ashley.
Yay. So when you have a lot of fallout, a lot of glittery products have a lot of fallout to them and nobody likes having glitter underneath their eyes. It just kind of looks a little funky. So what you do is you take one of these brushes. It's just a spoolie. You can get them that are kind of a little more clear. You can get disposables really easy at any store. And what you're going to do is you can literally brush it underneath the eye and that's going to get rid of all that excess glitter. It's really good if you have like a hair stuck to you somewhere or if you have glitter in a weird spot that you don't want it. And all you have to do is just brush it along and it actually removes all of that product that you don't want there. A good way to prevent that fallout is to use a translucent powder underneath as well and then use this and it brushes everything off in the first swipe.
We're gonna get one of those.
Dude, they're amazing! We're gonna put some of that translucent powder underneath. It's gonna look really white right now, but I promise when it's done, it's gonna clear up really well and it's just gonna look perfect. We're gonna take that same brown that we had used before, the same gloss, and we're actually gonna go under the eye a little bit, more towards the very edges so she has a very soft underside. If you want it to be more dramatic for a more nighttime look, what you can do is you can actually put eyeliner underneath and then soften it out with this brown color. It doesn't matter if you use black or not because it'll soften with this. Alright, so Supergirl would not be Supergirl without blue. She needs her red, she needs her blue. So what we have here is our Radium by Urban Decay. It's another amazingly brilliant blue. We're going to actually put that on the inner corner of her eye. So it's really awesome. And we're just going to start by patting it in here in the very inner corner. Try not to drag it down too much. The reason for that is because once we start blending, it'll naturally start to fall a little lower. And you don't want to wind up with a hugely dark blue eye underneath. Now we've applied the blue looks amazing on her. What we want to do now is we're going to line the eye because we want it to pop. We're going to do some lashes and we're going to twist up her brows a little bit, give her some color, and give her her finishing looks. One way I like to do brows is I start again with the spoolie, even if you want to use a glitter one, and just brush them out completely to whatever direction you usually have your brows. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use a pomade. I'm going to use a slightly darker color just for the drama. And we're going to start here and just go right into the hairline. The reason we're doing this is because your brows frame your face. They're one of the most important features that you've got and you want to make sure that you show them off really well. If you find that the color that you're using is a little too dark, too dramatic, and you're not loving it, take this spoolie back over again and brush right through and it'll actually soften all of that color and actually blend it a little bit better too. Alright, so we're going to go with a very soft shadow now. It's going to be very beige blonde because we don't want it to be too dark and it also helps set what she has going on. You always want it set. You don't want to be that person where you forget you have your eyebrows done and then you go to scratch yourself and everything rubs right off. I do that a lot. One of the things I like to do in order to keep my brows looking very clean and sharp is I actually take a concealer that's about the same tone as my skin, and I go over the top and the bottom, and that is called cutting. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna make your eyebrows really stand out. It's not gonna look so fuzzy, which is really, really great when you want a strong brow. Make sure you blend above the brow really well. If you don't, you end up with this really weird white effect above your brow, and people will definitely see it. So to highlight the brow, what we want to do is we want to use a muted color that isn't super glittery. If it's going to be too glittery towards the brow, it's not going to look very clean. So we're going to take the Skimp, which is part of one of the Urban Decay palettes. That's just to highlight the brow bone, just to make sure it's not looking skimpy. What we're going to do next is we're going to use the Urban Decay gel liner in Perversion. It's a very, very deep black, and it's going to be great to make your eyes pop. We don't want the line too thick, so we're actually going to use the Perversion angled brush, and it's going to be great to give a little bit of coverage. Try not to dip your brush into your gel liner. If you do that, you could get bacteria on it. You don't want that. So you can just take a little spatula like this and put it right onto the spatula instead, and then you'll have a clean, awesome gel liner. Perfect. So you see it's not super dramatic, but it makes her eyes look brighter now. Alright, so we're going to brush all that excess powder off so she doesn't look like she's just been on the slopes. Next thing we're going to do is we have the little Perversion false lashes. This is in Bait. These are really, really, really pretty, and they're going to really complete this. So the first thing we want to do before we get any of this glue onto this is we want to measure her eyes. If you don't measure the lashes on your eye first, you're going to wind up having it poking your inner eye, and you're going to hate your life. One way to adjust stiffness if you find that the band is kind of not malleable enough is just take it like this, and I know that seems really silly, but it really, really breaks that up and makes it so it wants to do what you're doing. So I'm putting a little bit more of the beading of glue towards the very ends. The reason I'm doing that is because when your eyes start to water, the water goes towards the inside and the outside. And we really don't want that happening because it'll make it so your glue will melt off. So we'll let that sit for a few seconds and we'll start the second. So one thing that's important when you're doing eyelashes is you don't want to have your eyes closed. When they're closed, you have a really good chance of gluing your eyes shut. So what I like to have is I tell my model to have their chin up and then go ahead and look all the way down, but do not close them. And that makes it so I have a straight line to work with. Okay, so we have her lashes on. We're gonna just make some minor adjustments to make sure that they're completely set right. The inner corner tends to water if you're not used to wearing them, so just make sure they're pushed in there pretty low without hurting. If you feel like it's scratching your inner eye at all, just take them off and reapply them. Doesn't matter, just do it because you'll be miserable all day if you don't. So how do the lashes feel on you?
Good.
Cool. Cool, 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 cool. And go ahead and look at me. And they are even, except for right there. Perfect. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do some mascara to make sure that she has a very solid look. It's going to help adhere the real lashes to the false lashes, and it's going to look a lot more natural that way. So we're using a lot of Perversion today because we're perverts, and we're using the Urban Decay Perversion mascara. I have a little baby-sized one, but this is what we're going to use to adhere everything together. So what I'm doing is I'm actually applying this to a fan brush. The reason I'm doing that is because I like the way it applies better. It helps separate the lashes really well. I know that they spend a lot of time and technique developing the brushes for these, but I always just go to this. So what I do is I like to put my finger right here. I do this on myself as well, and I just do that because it makes it so I can take this and dig into those lashes without messing up the makeup or hurting her eye. So I like to wiggle the brush back and forth as you see like this. And what that's doing, it's depositing all the way through her lashes. So what we're gonna do, and everybody hates this, so I apologize now, because when you do it on yourself, you're gonna hate it. We're gonna use the black velvet, it's one of the eyeliners, and what we're gonna do is called tight lining. And what that is there's a little bit of space in between where her eye is and where her lashes are. So what we wanna do is color it in with black or brown. We're gonna use black just because she already has the mascara on. And we're actually gonna put this in the upper corner of her eyelid. And I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry, I feel like I'm gonna torture you. So I'm gonna have you look down a little bit. I'm gonna lift this up and go in. If you need to blink, feel free. So what that did is, if you can see up that close, that erased all of that pink space and it makes her eyes look bigger.
That really wasn't that bad.
So all I'm doing when I do this is I'm actually creating a deeper crease in the eye, and that's just gonna make it a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not dramatic, but it's gonna be more aged in a good way. I realized that we have this beautiful Chaos eyeliner, and it's one of their most amazing colors. And since we're gonna have that pop of blue, I'm gonna put some of this on the inner corner, and it's gonna just be super, super stunning. And if you look up, oh, it's brilliant. It's so, so pretty. That's amazing. Go and look at the camera, show them what that looks like. It's perfect. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to start on the lips. Since we already did a conditioner, I always suggest you do that. If not, it's going to be very dry, kind of flaky, and your lipstick isn't going to last all day. We have what's called Ozone from Urban Decay, and it's kind of a primer. So what we do is we're going to line her lips with it, and once we do that, it's going to make it so her lipstick doesn't feather and get really fuzzy looking. Sexy.
That is sexy.
Perversion. 69. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a lipstick called 69. It's this really gorgeous blue based red. We're using blue based because a lot of the Supergirl colors are mainly blue based. There's not a lot of orange tones going on in our outfit. So I'm going to take one of these again because we don't want to ruin the lipstick, and we're just going to scrape some of that color right off the top. You can be very gentle when you do it, but get a good amount of color on there. I'm going to start with this bigger brush and start in the center and work my way out on her lips. So I'm going to open. So we have the base color on. We're going to take a smaller brush, very, very tiny. We're going to readjust and make sure it all gets lined and smooths and even. Always remember with your lipstick, a little goes a very long way. You want to continue to layer all of your lipstick. If you put too much color on at once, you're going to end up with it being cakey again. So just go in little tiny layers and little streaks. Usually I would line the lip with a darker red, but because we use the primer should do exactly what we need instead of having to use an extra color. So if you can't find a liner that works for you that matches your lipstick, you can use a nude liner or you can use the primer.
I do it all the time.
I know it looked weird, but what she's doing is if you have lipstick that's bright like that, you put your finger in your mouth and bite down and pull your finger out, and any excess lipstick that's going to stick to your teeth is going to wind up in your finger.
And I knew that trick. I've done that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that one I knew. Yay.
Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and we also want to make sure we give a great big shout out to Urban Decay for providing all of the makeup in this video.
And thank you to the stream for allowing us to use their space. And then also
obviously, we want to thank Ashley Troub for giving us her time and her talent to show you guys how to make such an incredible look. So we will see you next time on Fashionably Nerdy. Bye.